Okay, so now this video is going to show you how you make 9/8 suspensions. The previous one was about 4/3 suspensions. This is a 9/8 suspension video and how to create them. So we talked about in the previous video about looking for falling tones. We mentioned that in this first measure, we had a falling tone in the alto, and then we saw that the distance from the note that it fell to the bass is a third. That's how we made a 4/3 suspension. Well, in the case of the 9/8 suspensions, you're looking for the falling note to become an octave above the bass note. So look from measure 1 into measure 2. Here's a falling tone again in the alto, and it falls to a G, and our bass note is a G. Well, there's an octave. So right there is a perfect example of where you could put a 9/8 suspension. And here's how you do it. So we're going to go in here, we're going to remove these two notes and make the first note the same as the previous note, which was an A to G. And that note was an F, so we'll leave that there. So now what we have is an example of a 9/8 suspension. G to A is the ninth, G to G is the octave. So I'm going to first label the actual suspension underneath this chord and call it 9/8. I'm going to go up here and label the components. Here's the preparation, the suspension, and the resolution. Take a listen to this. There it is again. Take a look right there. We talked about how that 9/8 adds a lot of that tension and then releases it because the chord is already in place. It's a minor chord, adding that ninth and then resolving down to the octave. Let's see if we can find another example of where we can put a 9/8 suspension as a falling tone again in the alto. And we can see that there's an octave. So I'm going to do just like I did in the previous measure over here. I'm going to delete these two notes. Make that an F resolving to E. And then after that was a D. So here is an example of a 9/8 suspension, E flat up to F, E flat to E flat, 9/8. We're going to label the suspension here, 9/8. And then we're going to put in the three components: preparation, suspension, resolution. Let's take a listen to the second measure going into the third measure. And there you go. You can see it right, you hear it right there. Okay? So I hope this is helpful. We've now covered 4/3 and 9/8. The next up is going to be the 7/6 suspension.